Sri N.S.Ganesh and his wife Uma Ganesh have been kind enough to send us the video. This is a talk on kidney donation presented by Sri N.S. Ganesh. He is a brother of N.S.RAMESH. All of them are great supporters of our channel. Earlier, he has talked about Madhya Kailas on our channel, and it was very useful to all our viewers. And now he has given a talk on kidney donation, and in that, anticipating all the doubts which may arise in our mind, he has very clearly answered them. And since he himself is a donor to his wife, he is a living example of whatever he has spoken here. And I thank him profusely, and also his brother, Sri Ramesh sir, and Mrs. Lalitha Ganeshan, who has coordinated this program. And it is going to be very useful to all the viewers and will encourage kidney donation. I thank you very much, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Ganesh. I wish you all a very happy Tamil New Year. Albert Einstein, the great scientist, once said, many people live their lives as if nothing is a miracle. Some others live life as if everything is a miracle. I belong to the second category. So every day we wake up, I believe that it's a great miracle. There are thousands of cells within our body, a lot of organs which have to coordinate with each other and work tirelessly 24/7 till we are alive. We are unfortunately not even aware of that. So we take everything for granted. But the very fact that we get up in the morning is a great miracle indeed. Now, not all people are so fortunate. Some of them have organ failures, like they have kidney failure, liver failure, or even lungs failure, heart failure. They are put to a lot of difficulties. They are not able to enjoy the normal lives. Now, is this something new? Definitely no. This has been going on for probably time immemorial. In earlier days, people were perhaps not aware of such failures. People did not live too long. So if you see the longevity, it was quite low. People used to live up to 40s and 50s, and they used to die. People never knew what it is. But today, the diagnostics have improved so much that we are able to tackle that, find it out very early and tackle that in a big way. That is why we see people living late in the 80s. So what did they do in those days? Once they started finding out, what did they do? The first thing that came to people's mind is, shall we try out organs from other animals? Like for example, chimpanzee, baboons, pigs, etc. But unfortunately that is not so easy as it sounds. Even till modern days, they have tried genetically modified pig's heart, pig's kidneys on humans. This is called a xenograft, that is graft or a transplantation from other species. But it is not as easy as it sounds. And very recently a person lived on a donated genetically modified pig's kidney for about 72 hours, and then probably later he died. So still we are very far away from that. The second thing they did was to try to build artificial kidneys. There are a lot of research work that is going on in this space. People have been funding that. People have been doing a lot of research, including nanotechnology, membranes using electric current from your own body, etc. But unfortunately, nothing has come to a stage where we can say that it is readily available on a commercial basis. You just cannot go to a shop and buy a kidney. Probably we are decades away from that. So what else can be done for that? So only way out is to get a kidney from a living person. So this is called an allograft or a allotransplantation, which means that the live transplantation from a living person of the same species. So this is perhaps something that can be done and is being done in a big way. So this is what we are going to talk about today. Now that we have established that the only solution for this problem is a transplant from a live person, there are two ways of doing it. One is called a cadaver transplant, other is called a transplant from a living person. Let us look at each of these separately. So a cadaver transplant is harvesting an organ from a person who is brain dead. Now who is a person who is declared brain dead? Our body, our brain consumes the maximum oxygen. But for some reason, like say an accident or a brain injury, the oxygen supply to the brain stopped or stops for some reason, and it's called hypoxia, which means less supply to oxygen to the brain, and the brain goes into a sort of dormant state and it cannot be revived to its normal conscious state. However, the other organs of the body are all working fine. So the panel of doctors, following a lot of protocols, then decide that the person is brain dead. Then the family of the person, brain dead person, can then decide that they can donate the organs. Now, what are all the organs that can be donated from harvested and donated from a brain dead person? Almost a lot of organs can be done, like your eyes, your heart, lungs, kidneys, pancreas, liver, skin, etc. Is there a time limit for harvesting and then implanting it into another human being? Yes, there is definitely a time limit. Eyes, heart and lungs you should transplant within 6 hours of harvesting, your liver within 12 hours, pancreas within 24 hours and kidney within 48 hours. So that is why you see green corridors being created when probably a heart is harvested in one city and it's flown by a plane to another city and taken in an ambulance through a green corridor directly to the hospital so that we reach on time. If it doesn't happen, then the tissues will start dying. This cadaver donation is highly regulated in India. You just cannot, brain dead person's relations cannot decide to donate the organs to some other person of their choice. The government maintains a registry and people register in that, and based on the seniority, they will allocate the organs to various people on the waiting list. This is done strictly to avoid malpractice because, as you may be aware, a lot of kidneys were being sold in India because people were poor and to make ends meet they were trying to sell their kidneys. However, it is very well regulated in India and that cannot be done anymore. The other option is for a live donor to donate his kidney to his kith and kin. Now, before getting into the details of that, a few things. There are a lot of myths about kidney donation. Some few points I can share. Number one is it is very risky for the donor to donate an organ. This is number one. I will talk in detail about it shortly. The second point is that age is a factor. Even that is not true. Let the physician decide whether we are fit enough to donate the kidney or not. For example, recently I know of a person who is 70 years old who has donated a kidney. Number three is the family is not agreeable. Obviously, family feels if I were to donate a kidney, my wife, children will feel that I will be at risk. So they will definitely be against donating. But then when I cover point number one in detail, you will know that a donor's life is not at stake at all. So you should be able to convince your family that it is really possible to donate a kidney. The last thing is some religions are saying that you should not donate a kidney. That is also not true because it is the greatest gift of life that you can give to another human being. So I don't think any religion will be against that. Coming back to the point about donors' health being at stake, it's quite understandable. After all of us have this need for self-preservation. So it's quite understandable if one feels so. But there are umpteen tests that are done by a physician before he declares some person as fit enough to donate an organ. So one need not be really worried about donor's health. So even if there is the slightest problem, you are not a candidate for donating any organ. Number two is we can look at people who have donated an organ like kidney or a liver and they have been living successfully for 30 years, 35 years after kidney donation. So that itself is a proof that there is no issue with an organ donation. And third point is very funnily, a cousin of mine who recently underwent ultrasound sonogram. To his surprise, he was 67. To his surprise, he found that he had only one kidney. Till then, he had not seen a scan and he was perfectly normal. So at 67, he came to know that he had only one kidney. So even in nature, probably it has provided us two kidneys so that you can live with only one kidney. Similarly, other organs have certain backups, except like heart or something like that. So there is absolutely no harm in donating a kidney. This is the first perspective that we need to bear in mind. The second perspective is psychological. For example, it is natural to feel a little upset or a little anxious that what happens if my kidney starts failing once I donate my kidney. So it is quite natural. But then being rational people, we should think through this and also counsel others, including our family, to say that the doctor is not going to touch your organ unless you are 100% fit to donate an organ. So let us be assured of that. And the third point is philosophical one. After all, whether you have one kidney or two kidney, when your time is up, you need to leave. So with this background, I am sure there is absolutely no issue in a person donating any organ. So in case somebody decides to donate a kidney, does it mean that it can be just plucked out and kept in some other's body? The body is not designed that way, because any foreign organ kept in your body, it will outright be rejected. That's why the human species has survived for millions of years. That is your immune system at work at its best. Then so what is it? There are a couple of few things that are necessarily to be done before a transplant. The first one is called ABO compatibility, that is the blood groups should match. The donors and recipients' blood group should match. But these days, even that is not mandatory. Even if blood groups are different, they will remove the antibodies in the donor's blood by using a process called plasmapheresis, and even unrelated non-compatible blood groups are also being done. So that is also not a problem. Second one is called tissue matching. Those days, tissue matching was the in thing, and if your tissues did not match, then probably they did not go for a transplant. But today, the HLA matching, which is called human leukocyte antigen matching, is not that mandatory. If a few of those antigens match, then they are going ahead with the transplant. The third one, which is the gold standard now, is called a cross match. The donor's blood and the recipient's blood are mixed together. The antibodies in the recipient's blood, if they start killing the cells in the donor's blood, then that means the cross match is positive. If more than 10% of the cells are destroyed by the recipient's antibodies, then the transplant will fail. So normally they would be very careful to transplant for a person if there is a cross match being positive. So these are the three basic things that have to be seen before you even think of a transplant. There are of course number of other tests for both the recipient and the transplant person. So live transplantation from a live donor is a well established procedure today with very minimal risks, and many people after a transplant live for a number of years. It has been very successful. But unfortunately, the problem in India and world over is there are too many people whose organs are failing. Like for example, every year kidney transplant patients are in the lakhs, whereas the number of kidneys that are available are only in a few thousands. In a year, probably 68,000 transplants happen, whereas probably a few lakhs come into the fold of a chronic kidney disease. So this is an alarming situation. So more and more people should come forward to donate their kidneys. That is problem number one. Problem number two, the ratio of donors, like males donate less as compared to females. About 70% of females donate kidneys, while only 30% of males do that. So this ratio also has to improve. More males should come forward to donate their organs, so that there is some sort of semblance of equity in this whole thing. And finally, to close it, how do I know all this? Well, I have donated a kidney about 6 years ago, and I am hale and hearty sitting before you and happily talking about it. So there is absolutely no problem to me. Or I have donated a kidney to my wife, and she is doing exceptionally well thanks to the doctor and Almighty's grace. And to sum up the whole thing, in life, as a Vedanti, you are supposed to do 5 yajnas, and one of them is called Manusha Yajna. That is, you have to do service to humanity. So that is called Manusha Yajna. And giving a gift of life to another human being, whether it is your wife, brother, sister, or some unknown person, it is the greatest thing that you can do, nothing better than that. And the great philosopher Emerson once said, they asked him what is success, he defined so many things. Finally he has said that to know that even one life has breathed easier because you have lived is to have succeeded. And I am sure after giving a kidney to someone else, they would have definitely breathed easier, and that is what life is all about. Thank you.